G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce for this my very late round 13 team review. Stay tuned. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, apologies. This is a later one being released, but I have been completely flat out wrecked with work at the moment, and I very almost did not even upload this one. But we're just going to keep it short, sharp, and sweet for you guys. I scored a 2,086 this week, which is a very good score in the top 3% of scores this week, and very pleased with that. When I'm going almost 2,000 spots, and we're now within the top 5,000, which is, sorry, it was a top 4% score this week. That now has me in the top 3%. And we're now within the top 5,000 people, which is excellent, which is great. Really happy about that. And you might think the team value is really, really low. Why is that the case? Well, the reason why that was the case was because we traded out Max Gorn last week. Yes, such is the dire nature of our team and the lack of cash gen. We ended up trading out Max Gorn, Marich, and Cleary. So Gorn became DeConning, Cleary became Clark, and Marich became Hewitt. So these were the trades. I was thinking about getting big Harry Mackay into my forward line, but he was a late out. And as a result, I've ended up going with George Hewitt, who I was pretty happy with. And DeConning did very well. Hewitt did very well. And of course, Clark did very well. So all in all, very happy with the moves that I made last week. I know I wish I could have kept Max Gorn. I really wish I could have kept him, but let me just move my face a bit lower there. He dropped 10.5k, 10.5 thousand. He dropped this week, which isn't too bad because yeah, what did he score last week? Last week he scored a 131, and Declining scored a 146. So not only did I free up a lot of cash, I also ended up getting more points on field, which is excellent. And I've got in Tom DeConning, who at the time had the third best run for rucks for the rest of the season. He was going to be up against Old Gold this week, and we saw what happened. He basically went 150 on Old Gold. So really happy with that. He's also come off his buy, whereas Gorn is about to enter his buy. So really happy with that decision in the end because it did free up $225,000 for my bank, which means that I've got funds to be able to get in one Zach Butters. And that was the thing. So the setup was we drop Gorn to DeConning so that we can facilitate getting in Butters this week and potentially could even delay it a week depending on how severe of a tag he was going to cop from, of course, Snooze, as he is affectionately known, Toby Bedford, but it did not matter at all. He scored a 140 plus type score. So we'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, Whitfield, Zorko weren't great in the back line for me. But Sheasel and Stewart were, and Clark did very well as a rookie for us. Unfortunately, had to play a bit more defense as well because even Redmond wasn't out. So the injury list continues to grow at Essendon. I really need to lose weight fast. I might be getting a gig soon. The Bond was the VC. A lot of people traded him in, and unfortunately, under the weight of all of the trade-ins, Bontempelli did not fire. So I blame all of you out there for trading the Bond in. Neil left a massive score out there on the park with that wide open shot in the last quarter. Would have absolutely skyrocketed if he nailed that. Alas, did not do that. Holmes with the 152. This guy is just a jet. Merritt, I really hope we don't piss. Like, I know it sucks with Merritt at the moment, but you just know that that role will not persist. After the buy, all of our defenders come back after the buy. And hopefully that means we never see Merritt play halfback ever again. George was the trade in. Day cost to get to 95 whilst being tagged all day and really heavily restricted. We take that. Dunkley with a 120 did good. Sherry, very happy with that 153 captain. Baz didn't play, laid out. Petrarca 115, very good. Rankin, a bit of a clanger merchant, definitely limited his score that way. Daniel playing Sheasel's role scores 124. An old gold with a 68. His break even was a little bit lower than that, and he barely went up 5.8 thousand this week. His break even now is 99 up against Geelong. The question is, do I hold him his this week? Look, why not? I mean, Baz might not play this week, but I think regardless of what happens, I'm just going to stick with what my plan was going to be, and that was to get in Zach Butters. So what I can do is I can do some of this DPP shenanigans and end up with a finished backline. Lindsay goes, and we get the man, the myth, the legend that is Zach Butters in. And then it's just a question of who we trade out to get my boy Zach Johnson. I just don't know about Sardis. I just don't know if he plays or not, to be honest. It's unfortunate, but stuff it. His money has been sitting there on the bench waiting for Zach Johnson to come in. And so we have about 80,000 in the bank still going into next week, which is really, really good. And we can just take the emergency of Butters, put the emergency on Johnson, and then he just comes here. And so now we've got a finished back line, we've got a finished midfield, a finished ruck. It's just these three spots still to go, and I only have 7 trades left. Not a lot of trades, and not enough cash generation to be able to get anyone great to have 23 genuine primos. So what I'm thinking at this stage, what it's looking like, that I might end up doing Goldstein all the way down to someone like McCarthy, who I think is firming for a debut this weekend, and he will just slot straight into that halfback role. And if someone who's a spud like Marich, the kick-in merchant, can score as well as he did without any drive off halfback, I can only imagine what someone like McCarthy can do in that position. So I'm hoping that I can free up, around $300,000 by going Goldie all the way down to someone like a Marriage, and then using that money to. So with that money, I'll be able to get Stone up to, or even get Stone up to someone like potentially a Warner, and then I'll probably use 3 trades using Clark, Johnson, and Gray to get someone like Horn Francis, who should drop around $50,000 in the next couple of weeks. And so what that will mean is 1 down, 1 up, and then 2 down, 1 up. So that's 5 trades there, leaving me with 2 trades for the rest of the season, and I'll only have 22 premiums, and I'll have McCarthy here, who I'm hoping can give me marriage type scores in the flex. And the benefit of that is that he'll have DPP between the back line and the midfield as well. And you never know, in time, if he makes lots of money, we could get someone who is a fallen primo at some stage later down the track. Who that is, I've got no idea. But that is a problem for another time. I think having 2 trades left for the remainder of the season by the end of the buys is already pretty disastrous as it is, because after round 16, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds of football. 2 trades to cover 8 rounds of football. And 8 rounds is a lot of time for injuries. So unfortunately, having a 23rd premium is sort of up in smokes at the moment, but I'm not overall too disappointed. Gonna hope that the premiums that I do have will be able to carry me later on into the season and be top scorers. I believe in all of these guys in the midfield. I genuinely do. This is a great midfield, in my opinion. I'm not trying to convince myself of that. I am very happy with this midfield. I think the back line is okay. What happened to Whitfield now playing higher up the ground is a bit bonkers to me. Hopefully, Kingsley can see the folly of his ways and realize that these guys made it to a prelim final with him playing off halfback and have him be D1 again. Happy with these two rucks for the rest of the season as well. And then if I can get Chad and Horn Francis, then I'd also be really happy with this forward line. Also, in terms of VC and C, having Gorn would have still been fantastic. Oh my god, Gorn against Dante, that is the best name. Dante Visentini. Dante Visentini is the best name in football, and it will be, of course, replaced when our boy Vigo Visentini, double V, comes into the game. But for now, Dante, you can, of course, hold on to that crown for now. In terms of the VCs and the Cs, it could just be Bont. I definitely want to involve Jaconning against Flynn. I think I do want to do that. The only question for me, though, is do I go Bont against the Saints, or do I go someone like Max Holmes against the Bombers? That's the question. That's the $1,000,000 question. Someone like a Geelong player against a decimated Essendon side. It's going to be ugly, very ugly, and I can see a hard-working midfielder like Holmes just racking it up on the outside. I might go, and the Bond was on the ball, but I don't know. At times, he just didn't look like it. They were beat up pretty badly against the Hawks. Maybe this week they come out roaring fire. I don't know. What's he done against the Saints? 159, 125, 125. If he gives you a 125, that's a really awkward VC score because realistically you should take it if it's 125 plus. But it's literally the most bottom of the barrel 125 plus scores. You'd obviously be hoping for a 159. 2025 round 6. Huh. Let's keep it on the Bont. Let's just. That was this year. I didn't even realize. So this is the very first double up of the year. All right. The Doggies and the Saints are the very first double up of the year. He went big on him earlier last year. Let's see if he can go big on him again this year. McRae is back for his first game. Surely won't be anywhere near as effective as he was pre-injury while he tries to find his feet again. And there's no Mateus Philippou. So, but there is Hunter Clark now, and he's a very dynamic player. I don't know. We're just going to go with the Bont. Stuff it. He's in here for a reason. We'll go Bont into DeConning. We brought in Butters, and Johnson will cover Dacos this week. There's no one to cover in the back line with Clark, but that's a-okay. If Baz doesn't play, that's still okay because we have 2, 4, 5, 7 plus 8 is 15 plus 6 is 21. So we still got heaps of players there, even if Baz is out, which is not a problem. But yes, those are my two trades this week. It is Lindsay and Sardis to Butters and Johnson, who should continue to persist in the role that he had on the weekend because it's been confirmed that Redmond is out until after the bye. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Just a really quick one, just simply because I haven't missed a week of doing team reviews, and it's better to be late than never, as the saying goes. But I will respond to the comments and answer any of your questions that you guys may have down below. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you had to see or hear, please drop me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're new to not miss out on any of the videos and the streams that we've got on a weekly basis. Of course, tomorrow night is Thursday night, which of course is Drive Home stream at 5:30. It that hardly ever starts at 5:30 because by the time I don't know what's happening with the traffic, it's a lot more these days, and so we're not really getting home and not starting the stream until maybe about 5:40. But please, we try our best to get there at 5:30, and we hope to see you there. See you guys.